let's take a look at how we can darken eyebrows. The process is simple. What you want to do is come over to the Adjustments panel. Now, if your Adjustments panel is not open, you can come up to the Window menu, and from the Window menu, you can choose Adjustments. Nevertheless, here inside the Adjustments panel, you want to go ahead and add a Curves adjustment. Now, what's curious about this is we're not really going to make an adjustment at all using this panel. Instead, what we're going to do is change the blending mode. Now, if you're not familiar with how blending modes work, I would strongly suggest going back to Photoshop CC Fundamentals here on trainsimple.com. But what we want to do in the blending modes menu is change this to multiply. Multiply will have a darkening effect. And when you do that, you can see that that's the case. I'll go ahead and collapse this Properties panel. And the problem with this is, if we take a look at the mask on the layer, is we're revealing everything. We're revealing this entire blending mode, and we don't want to do that. So instead, we want to fill this mask with black. You can press D on your keyboard to set your foreground and background colors to the default of white and black. Then you can fill this mask with black by holding down the Command key on the Mac. It would be Control on Windows and pressing the Delete key. Now what we want to do is paint in that adjustment in the areas of the image that we want to reveal it, and that happens to be her eyebrows. So press the B key on your keyboard to activate the brush tool. Go ahead and choose a brush size by using the bracket keys on your keyboard. The right bracket will increase the brush size. The left bracket will decrease the brush size. You want to make sure that you're working with a relatively soft brush, so go ahead and make sure the hardness is somewhere down here in the lower percentages. And you also want to make sure that your opacity is fairly low. Now, we can control this further by adjusting the opacity of the layer. We will do that. But for now, what we want to do is just come in with some brush strokes, and you want to paint some white on that mask to reveal that adjustment here within her eyebrows. So I'm just clicking and dragging to paint in her eyebrows. Again, this is where a tablet can be really helpful because you can get really precise, but I'm using a mouse right now and it seems to be working just fine. So you want to spend some time and you want to brush in that adjustment, and you're ultimately going to be darkening up her eyebrows. Now, if you want to see the before and after, you can do that by turning off the visibility of that curves adjustment layer, and you can see clearly that we did darken the eyebrows. Now, you may want to add some contrast, and you can do that again with another adjustment layer. To do that, you can duplicate this curves adjustment by dragging it down to the new layer icon, but we don't want the blending mode to be set to multiply. Instead, we want to set this to soft light. By setting this to soft light, we're going to introduce some more contrast, and you can see that again immediately if I turn that on and off. Now, this is a little too pronounced, so typically what I do is I dial it back by dragging these opacity sliders down to something less than 100%. But here, we were able to successfully darken the eyebrows. Let's go ahead and take a look at the before and after by turning off the visibility of those adjustment layers and then turning the visibility of those layers back on. You can clearly see the before and after. So a quick, easy technique for darkening eyebrows.